How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? I used a range of software, hardware, and online technologies to create my products. This cross-media convergence allowed me to create realistic media products for my A2 coursework. In terms of software, I used Adobe Photoshop CS6, Premiere Pro, and Lightroom. I had previous experience with these programs from my AS level and GCSE media coursework, so was able to navigate them confidently and achieve my desired effect. I used Lightroom to make initial edits, making color and brightness adjustments for the images used in my digipack and website. I would then move them to Photoshop, where I would make the final edits. For example, for the images and front and back covers of my digipack, I removed them from their backgrounds using the quick selection tool and layered them with other images and text. I also used the spot healing tool to a smaller extent on the images seen on the artist's website to remove blemishes on the skin. Photoshop also allowed me to take screenshots of the artist's website and directly cut out the font and color used to display the artist's name. This allowed for smoother synergy between the products, creating a smoother effect for the audience. Adobe Premiere Pro was a prominent software used on my major task, and was something I had limited knowledge of, meaning I found editing my music video quite difficult at the start of the process. However, I quickly adapted to the software and soon became confident in using it, mainly due to a series of interactive workshops on www.creativelive.com. I experimented with and learned how to use a variety of effects, such as fading techniques by controlling opacity, masks, and split screen techniques. I also discovered filter effects, where I could easily change the color and hue of clips I used. I used these effects on top of the clips, which I cut and edited together, as well as finding ways to merge and manipulate them. I found that Premiere Pro was a very effective tool to do this, and relatively easy to learn. I required a mix of hardware over my major and minor tasks, none of which I didn't have previous experience in using. For my major task, I used a Sony 7S II mirrorless DSLR, which I found to be ideal for achieving clear shots, as it has very good close-up focus, which I found very useful, especially when filming my actors in front of a mirror, as it allowed for selective focus. To ensure I would achieve the best possible outcome, I took some practice shots with the Sony and a Canon XA40. The Sony 7S II doesn't allow for zooms, where the Canon did, but this wasn't an issue for me as my shots didn't greatly vary in type and angle, and I had an f4 14-105 zoom lens available to me if I needed to create a greater depth of field, a typical convention in music videos to allow the audience to see the actors more clearly. I used the Sony in conjunction with a tripod, so I could ensure a steady, level shot, as well as an LED portable studio light and a softbox studio light. These allowed me to easily change the height and angle of my lighting. I also used the lights and Sony camera when taking pictures for my digipack and website. When doing my pre-production for my music video, I learned how to assemble and use a Ronin S gimbal, as I was planning to use it on my video. Even though I didn't end up utilizing this skill, it will still be beneficial in future media projects. The predominant online technology I used was Weebly, an online blog which allowed me to both track and record my progress when undertaking my A2 coursework, and create my artist website. When creating my artist website, I discovered more about Weebly, learning how to incorporate buttons and links to make the audience navigation of the site easier. I also had to include videos, text, and images in both my blog and artist website to make it easier to illustrate meaning to the viewer. I used Google to access information on key components and conventions for my research pages for my major and minor tasks. Lastly, I used YouTube not only to distribute my completed music video, but also to demonstrate my learning curve, such as learning how to assemble a gimbal, and to find videos to support my research and as primary research, to watch different music videos and pick out key codes and conventions.